Good morning, everyone. Peace be with you all, and happy Friday. It is August 5th. Thanks as always for joining me for our Upper Room Daily Meditation. It's looking a little stormy outside while I'm recording this, so you might hear a little bit of rain or thunder, or maybe you don't get those through the computer. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for joining me today and every day. You can find these videos on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And the title for today's devotion is The Road Ahead. Proverbs chapter 4 reads, "Let your eyes look straight ahead, fix your gaze directly before you." That's the NIV translation of the first verse of our reading, which is Proverbs chapter 4, verses 25 through 27. I'll be reading it out of the NRSV, our Pew Bible that we use here in the church. "Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you. Keep straight the path of your feet, and all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil." Amen. Not the most profound passage, not the longest or deepest passage that we've read. We do need to turn our feet away from evil, but I also have given sermons before about how, there has for a long time has been a culture of Little Red Riding Hood comes to mind. The culture of not straying from the path, lest some kind of evil wolf come along and gobble you up or something. And I am not so sure how helpful that is all the time. It's that is at odds, it seems to me, with the theology of stopping and smelling the roses. And there was some of that in our Monday devotion as well, which Peggy did such a lovely job with. Proverbs is good when you need it, and Proverbs like these are helpful when you need them, but I wouldn't call them absolutes. I'll just leave it at that. I don't call them absolutes. The meditation on the proverb comes from Peg Arnold, who's writing from Colorado. Peg is featured on page 21 in the packet, if you have it before you. She's a school teacher and a counselor, and she does drama ministry. I'm hoping that means performing arts and not like human drama in any way. But Peg writes, "As my 5-year-old granddaughter learns to ride her bike without training wheels, she loves to join me on bike rides. I choose safe routes with minimal traffic and watch as she gains confidence in her balance and skill. Yet she still needs verbal reminders to keep her eyes on the road. Every duck, unique rock, or pretty flower distracts her. Turning her attention away from the road, she veers off the path, sometimes resulting in near disaster." There's some Little Red Riding Hood stuff there. "I can also become distracted and swerve off course. For example, when I'm discouraged, I find myself focusing on the negative things in life. I take my eyes off the road and end up floundering in grief and self-pity, crashing into thorns of despair. Fixing my eyes on God, who is leading the way, helps to keep me on the path. My granddaughter has my voice to direct her focus back to the road ahead. I've learned that I can also hear the voice of God calling me back to the road when I spend time with God, pray unceasingly, trust God, and express gratitude. In God, I always have someone looking out for my best interests. Amen." She really leaned into that metaphor there, didn't she? I think what this meditation highlights is if we turn away from the path that we're on, it depends on why we're turning away from it. I think that kind of the unspoken assumption in so many of these kinds of metaphors and these kinds of meditations is, well, the path you're on is clearly the path of God. That may not always be the case. It may be that turning away from the path we're on is how we find the path of God. And other meditations highlight that too, about the necessity of making changes in our life. It occurs to me that in terms of, directing our children, and, Jessica and I think a lot about how we guide our daughters and keep them safe and still let them live and all of that. I think safety is a big thing here. I think fear is a big factor in this in terms of why we are so unwilling to let our children or anyone astray from a path that we think is the safe path, quote unquote. But if they are safe, then there's no harm in stopping to look at a duck or a unique rock or a pretty flower, or to allow yourself to be a little distracted. the implication is always that if you look away at the thing, then you won't be safe on, your bicycle or whatever. But if you take away that safety factor, that is, if you have taken care of that, and if you are being safe, then the metaphor it changes it a little bit, I think, and it's not quite so necessary to focus on the kind of narrow path that we've laid out. And frankly, I think that can apply to our relationship with God as well. So why are we keeping on the path we are keeping on? If we turn away from the path, why are we turning away from the path? I just think it's helpful to go a little bit deeper than that when we're working with these kinds of metaphors. So anyway, it was a very rich devotion for us to end our week on. The prayer focus is for someone learning a new skill, such as bike riding. Maybe you're learning a new skill this summer. Let's all pray together. Dear God, thank you for going before us and protecting us, even when we don't realize it. Help us to trust in you and hear your voice as you call us back to your path. Amen. Whether we're on a straight path or a winding path, whether we deviate from the path we're on or not, God is always there with us. And so, what we always try to call people into is a life in which you are walking step by step with God and with Christ. That is the only path that's worth following. That's where all these metaphors come from. And we don't always know where that path will lead us. But the important thing is that God is walking it with us. Thanks for joining me today. Again, I will be off from devotions next week while we're up north in Oscoda. So we'll be enjoying the beach up there, and then we'll be back the following week. But bless you all. Hope that you are, again, staying safe during some of the thunderstorms we've been having lately, and staying in good health. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter is where you can find us. So like, follow, and subscribe in those places. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.